Hello, my name is Jana and this is my first Smart Notebook lesson on the preterite versus the imperfect in the Spanish tense. The purpose of this is to have students practice the difference between when to use the preterite and the imperfect tense, because they are both the past tense in Spanish. If you see the lesson objectives here, you'll see that students by the end of this lesson will be able to know which past tense to use in any given sentence. If you click over here, you'll find my teacher notes and see that it's meant for Spanish Level 2 students. It teaches the preterite versus the imperfect. It's meant for high school students in grades 9 through 12. And before students begin this lesson, they should have a good understanding of how to conjugate the preterite and the imperfect tense. And finally, in lesson notes, the instructor notes are that students should already know how to conjugate verbs into the preterite and imperfect tense before going through this lesson. The lesson begins by going over the state standards and giving a little background of what the student should already know how to do, which I mentioned is know how to conjugate into the preterite and imperfect tense. However, as we know with students, review is always necessary. So the beginning of the lesson reviews the preterite conjugations, including a video, if you click here, of the irregular conjugations. After that, it goes into how to conjugate into the imperfect tense, and then it goes into when to use which one. The students will then, having gone through the review, know when to use which one and how to conjugate the lesson. The lesson then begins with the pre-assessment. The students will be given 5 questions, and once they click on the answer, they will know whether they are right or wrong. For example, I give explanations as to why this is the wrong conjugation, and then they can go back and try again with a different answer. They can also, at this point, review the preterite versus the imperfect, P versus I, and try again, and then click the correct answer. Once the students finish going through the 5-question pre-assessment, they are then taken to the page down below, the results page. If they got 1 or 0 questions correct, they will click here. If they got 2 or 3 questions correct, they will click here. And if they got almost all the questions correct, they will click here. Let's go to this one. Since they got 2 to 3 questions right, we know that they mostly understand when to use the preterite versus the imperfect, but they probably just need some extra review, to which I've provided various lessons for them to see on the internet. They can click any one of these and practice, or this one is a video that they can watch if they prefer to do that instead. Once they've gone through a few of these websites to practice, they can feel free to go to the post-assessment. At the end of this lesson, the students should be able to conjugate verbs into the preterite and imperfect tense and also know when to use which one in any given situation. Overall, I enjoyed creating this presentation, this unit, using Smart Notebook. This was my first time using the Smart Notebook application, and I can definitely see its benefits. It is quite user-friendly, although it was difficult to find the title page at first. But once I found the title page, I was able to figure out how to use the links and have pages connect to each other or to the internet. I really enjoyed it overall, and I can definitely see myself using it for future lessons in my classroom. One of the possible drawbacks to using this application is it is quite time-consuming, however effective. It did take me a while to create all of these pages and then to link them all to each other. I also had to make sure that all the pages were linked and that no page was missing a link. So there are a lot of steps and minor things you need to be aware of and pay attention to detail. I really enjoyed using this flash object as pictured here, where the students have to pull one word to either side and then see if they are correct. This was a lot easier to do than creating all of these pages and linking the pages to each other as I did in the pre-assessment. If I had known more about this flash object before I had started the presentation, I probably would have used more of the instruction using the flash object than creating all of these new pages and linking them to each other. I look forward to using the Smart Notebook application in the future for my lessons. I find it very user-friendly, and I know that they have a lot of other things that they could teach me. There's so many links and pictures and flash objects that can be put in these presentations that I know that I can do a better job next time as well. Thank you.